Imagine pursuing a vehicle that suddenly vanishes into thin air. This isn't some Hollywood blockbuster plot. This is a real incident, a baffling event that left the men and women of the Lincoln, Nebraska Police Department bewildered. One ordinary night, the tranquility of Lincoln was shattered by the roar of a car engine. The police, always on alert, sprang into action. They were in hot pursuit of a vehicle, a chase that promised to be just like any other. But as we know, some nights are not meant to be ordinary. The car was speeding, weaving in and out of the deserted streets with the police trailing closely behind. But then, something unexpected happened. The fleeing vehicle turned onto a dead-end street. The police, sure they had the car cornered, turned the corner with anticipation. But what met their eyes was not the sight of a trapped car, but an empty street. The car was gone. It had vanished. But how? There were no other exits, no alleys, no side streets, not even a driveway. Just a straight, dead-end street. The officers were left scratching their heads. They searched the area looking for any possible hidden exits, but found none. It was as if the car had disappeared into thin air. They checked and double-checked their dashcam footage, but it only confirmed what they had witnessed. The car made that final turn, and then was gone. It was an unexplainable event, a phantom car chase that defied all logic and reason. This incident remains one of the most perplexing cases in the annals of the Lincoln, Nebraska Police Department. A phantom car, a high-speed chase, a dead-end street, and a disappearance that leaves us all wondering, questioning, and trying to make sense of the inexplicable. A case that left the officers scratching their heads, with more questions than answers. And perhaps, that's all we are left with. Questions. Questions that remind us that sometimes the world is stranger and more mysterious than we can ever comprehend. Next, we delve into the eerie encounter of the vanishing hitchhiker. On a crisp autumn night in 1972, a Chicago police officer was patrolling the quiet streets when he noticed a lone figure under the dimly lit street lamps. It was a young girl, hitchhiking her way through the darkness. Despite protocol advising against it, the officer, moved by the girl's apparent distress, decided to offer her a ride. As she stepped into the back seat of the patrol car, the officer couldn't help but note her uncanny resemblance to a local girl who had tragically lost her life in a car accident years prior. Her pale face, the somber look in her eyes, even the white dress she was wearing, were all hauntingly familiar. The ride began in silence, with the girl seeming to be lost in her own world. The officer, trying to make her feel at ease, attempted small talk. However, his attempts were met with nothing more than soft whispers and vague responses. The mysterious aura around her only grew with each passing second. At one point, the officer glanced back, only to find the back seat of his patrol car empty. The girl had vanished as suddenly as she had appeared. Startled, he pulled over and checked his car thoroughly, but there was no sign of the hitchhiker. She had disappeared into the thin air, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence. The officer, shaken by the incident, reported it to his superiors. However, the story was met with skepticism. The consensus was that the late-night shift and the eerie solitude of the streets had played tricks on his mind. But the officer stood by his account, adamant that he had indeed encountered the phantom hitchhiker. Over the years, this incident has been revisited by investigators and paranormal enthusiasts, each trying to rationalize the officer's claim. But the mystery remains. The story of the vanishing hitchhiker of Chicago continues to be a puzzling enigma, a chilling narrative that blurs the line between reality and the supernatural. A chilling story that continues to baffle investigators and paranormal enthusiasts alike. From vanishing cars and people to unidentified flying objects. Now let's delve into a truly hair-raising incident that took place in the Lone Star State back in 1991. Picture this: a quiet night in Texas, the star-studded sky offering a serene backdrop to the otherwise mundane patrols of our dedicated officers. But this night was anything but ordinary. On this particular evening, multiple officers reported an unusual sight that would baffle them and official sources alike for years to come. What they saw wasn't a runaway criminal or a speeding vehicle, but a triangular-shaped object hovering in the sky, an object that defied all known laws of physics and aerodynamics. This unidentified flying object, or UFO as we commonly know them, moved at incredible speeds that no known aircraft of that time could achieve. But what was even more puzzling was its eerie silence. Despite its breakneck speed, the UFO didn't make a single sound. It was as if the very air around it stood still, refusing to ripple or create the usual sonic boom associated with high-speed objects. The officers, being trained observers, noted the object's details meticulously. Its triangular shape, the swift and silent maneuvers, everything was reported with the utmost precision. But despite their detailed accounts, the sighting remains unexplained by official sources. There were no known military exercises that night, no test flights, nothing that could justify the presence of such a peculiar flying object. This incident, like many other UFO sightings, raises more questions than it answers. It challenges our understanding of the world, of the very universe we inhabit. It prompts us to ask, what if we're not alone? What if there's more to the cosmos than our limited knowledge can fathom? The officers who witnessed this event were left with an unshakable sense of awe and intrigue. Their encounter with the unknown didn't just add a thrilling chapter to their careers, but it also forever altered their understanding of what might be out there. Now let's explore the unsettling incident of the unseen intruder. Our tale takes us back to 2002 in the quiet state of Pennsylvania. Officers responded to a distress call, a suspected break-in at a vacant house. The caller had reported strange noises, the clattering of objects and footsteps, echoing from the otherwise empty house. The police arrived expecting to find a trespasser, a squatter, or perhaps even a burglar. But what they found, or rather what they didn't find, was far more perplexing. As they cautiously entered the property, their senses immediately heightened. The faint sound of footsteps echoed through the empty hallways, a chilling reminder of the unseen presence. They moved room to room, their flashlights illuminating the darkness, revealing moving shadows and objects that seemed to shift unnaturally. The air was thick with an uneasy tension, the silence only broken by the unsettling noise of movement. The officers searched high and low, their training and experience guiding them through the disquieting situation. Yet, despite their thorough search, they found no one. No signs of forced entry, no traces of a human presence. Just an empty house, filled with inexplicable sounds and moving objects. The officers left the scene, their minds filled with unanswered questions. Who or what was responsible for the sounds and the movement? How could they hear footsteps and see objects move, yet find no one? The incident was reported, documented, and filed away, but it remains an unsolved mystery to this day. The unseen intruder had left no trace, no evidence, and no explanation. The vacant house returned to its silent state, the echo of the unseen footsteps forever imprinted in the minds of those brave officers. This incident is a chilling reminder that sometimes, the most unsettling occurrences are those that cannot be seen or explained, an eerie mystery that left even the most seasoned officers unnerved. Finally, brace yourself for the ghostly apparition that still haunts the officers. Delving into the annals of the unexplained, we journey back to the year 2010, in the sun-baked landscapes of New Mexico. Here, in a locale known more for its stark beauty than spectral encounters, a chilling incident unfolded, one that remains etched in the memories of the officers involved to this day. The scene was a secured site, watched over by surveillance cameras, their electronic eyes tirelessly scanning the surroundings. It was here that the officers, in the midst of a routine surveillance check, spotted something that defied all rational explanation. They saw a figure, a ghostly apparition, moving across the camera's field of vision. This figure was unlike any intruder they had ever come across. It was ethereal, almost smoke-like, yet its form was distinctly human. It moved with a purpose, yet left no trace of its passage. The officers, seasoned veterans of law enforcement, were left utterly baffled. With adrenaline pumping, they rushed to investigate the site. Their hearts pounded against their chests, their flashlights cutting through the inky darkness, searching for the source of the spectral image. The secured site was thoroughly combed, every nook and cranny investigated, yet they found no one. No signs of any intrusion, no footprints, no indication that anyone had been there. The logical mind struggled to comprehend what the eyes had witnessed. How could a figure, so clearly visible on the surveillance cameras, simply vanish? Was it a trick of the light? An error in the surveillance system? Or, as some would dare to whisper later, a visitation from the other side? This eerie encounter was not to be the last. Over the years, officers reported similar ghostly figures on their surveillance footage, always at the same site, always disappearing without a trace. A haunting vision that remains unexplained to this day. From vanishing vehicles to ghostly apparitions, we've seen how the unexpected can turn a routine patrol into a brush with the inexplicable. The phantom car chase, a pursuit that ended with a disappearing act. The vanishing hitchhiker, a passenger who was there one moment and gone the next. The UFO sighting, a celestial encounter that defied all logic. The unseen intruder, an invisible force that left a tangible trail of chaos, and the ghostly apparition, a spectral figure that sent chills down the spines of even the most seasoned officers. Each of these incidents left an indelible mark on those involved, shaking their understanding of reality to its core. These mysteries, as bewildering as they may be, remind us that the world is full of unanswered questions and inexplicable phenomena. While these mysteries remain unsolved, they remind us that there are things in this world that even those sworn to protect and serve cannot explain.